नमस्कार मंडळी. जसं मी काल पण म्हटलं की या कार्यक्रमाचं नावच गोदावरी संवाद आहे, तर मान्यवर सुद्धा इथे आपल्याशी संवाद साधणार आहे. मी पण एकटा बोलणार नाही, हा दोन्ही बाजूंनी संवाद आहे. तर सुरुवातच आपण जरा छान मोठ्या आवाजात एनर्जीने करूयात ना. नमस्कार मंडळी. वा, छान. कालपेक्षा आज जास्त एनर्जी आहे. गोदातीरी वसलेल्यांचा मान नाशिक भूमी, चित्र नाट्य मीडियाचा प्राण नाशिक भूमी, निसर्गाच्या शांत स्वरांचा मंगलनाद नाशिक भूमी आणि खळखळत्या या गोदावरीचा संवाद नाशिक भूमी. आणि याच प्रभू श्री रामचंद्रांच्या पदस्पर्शाने पावन झालेल्या नाशिक भूमीत आयाम नाशिक आयोजित गोदावरी संवाद 2025 या कार्यक्रमाच्या दुसऱ्या दिवसात मी कल्पेश कुलकर्णी आपल्या सगळ्यांचं मनापासून स्वागत करतो. या कार्यक्रमात पुन्हा एकदा मी आपल्या सगळ्यांचं मनापासून स्वागत करतो आणि कार्यक्रम सुरू करण्यापूर्वी मी मान्यवरांना मंचावर आमंत्रित करतो. सगळ्यात आधी मी विनंती करतो, आयाम नाशिकचे अध्यक्ष डॉक्टर भरतजी केळकर यांनी कृपया मंचावर यावं. त्यासोबतच अक्लेम्ड सायंटिस्ट ऑथर डॉक्टर आनंद रंगनाथन जी यांना सुद्धा मी मंचावर आमंत्रित करतो आणि ऑथर ब्रँडिंग एक्सपर्ट श्री अभिजित जी जोग यांना सुद्धा जोरदार टाळ्यांनी मी मंचावर आमंत्रित करतो. खूप खूप धन्यवाद. आता या राष्ट्रव्यापी संमेलनात आपण पुढच्या क्षणी अनुभवणार आहोत देशाच्या संस्कृतीचा, परंपरेचा आणि एकतेचा नाद, जी फक्त भारत मातेला घातलेली साधच नाही, तर मातृभूमीला अर्पण केलेली एक स्वरांजली आहे, म्हणजेच वंदे मातरम. सादर करण्यासाठी येतोय विपुल आपटे. आपण कृपया भारत मातेच्या सन्मानार्थ उभे राहूयात. सादर करण्यासाठी येतोय विपुल आपटे.
वंदे मातरम, वंदे मातरम, सुजलाम सुफलाम मलयज शीतलाम सस्य श्यामलाम मातरम, वंदे मातरम, वंदे मातरम. कोटि कोटि कंठ कल कल निनाद कराले, कोटि कोटि भुजै द्रुत कर करवाले. अबला के नो माम हे तो बले, बहुबलधारिणीं नमामि तारिणीं, रिपुदलवारिणीं मातरं, वन्दे मातरं. तुमी विद्या तुमी धर्म, तुमी हृदि तुमी मर्म, त्वं हि प्राणा शरीरे. बाहुते तुमी मा शक्ति, हृदये तुमी मा भक्ति. तोमरई प्रतिमा गडी मंदिरे मंदिरे, वंदे मातरम. त्वं हि दुर्गा दश प्रहरणधारिणी, कमला कमलदल विहारिणी. वाणी विद्यादायिनी, नमामि त्वां, नमामि कमलां अमलां अतुलां, सुजलां सुफलां मातरं, वन्दे मातरं. श्यामलां सरलां सुस्मितां भूषितां, धरणीं भरणीं मातरं, वन्दे मातरं, वन्दे मातरं. भारत माता की जय.
मी सगळ्यांना आसनस्थ होण्याची विनंती करतो. मंडळी, जेव्हा आपल्या मनात एखादी संकल्पना येते तेव्हा आपल्या मनात एक धाकधूक असते की सुचलं तर आहे, पण इतका मोठा डोलारा हा उचलता येणार आहे का. पण निश्चय जर पक्का असेल तर काहीही अशक्य नाही असा ठाम विश्वास बाळगत ज्यांनी थेट वॉरफ्रंटवर देशसेवा केली आणि गोदावरी संवाद सारखं देशव्यापी कार्य राबवत आपल्या वेगवेगळ्या विचारांना एकसंग केलं, असे आयाम नाशिकचे अध्यक्ष डॉक्टर भरतजी केळकर यांना मी विनंती करतो की त्यांनी आपलं मनोगत व्यक्त करावं.
विचार मंचावरतील ज्ञानीजन आनंदजी आणि अभिजितजी आणि सर्व नाशिककरांनो, नमस्कार. द थिंग इज, वी आर ऑलवेज कन्फ्यूज, सर, because there are so many narratives which really are hammered on our ears, and when we see on TVs and other media, sometimes the gobble is very much effective and we feel that this is the truth. But we deserve to know the truth, the real truth, which exists beyond all the narratives. As we all of you know, there's a toolkit to know about what is the truth behind it. And the first one, that the data. Who is the best person who answers the narratives with data? Anandji here. He comes with the data where n number of panelists are kept quiet only because he narrates data which is data you cannot challenge the data at all. But that gives us information, yes, and that is very important to come out of our depression and to be confident. But that requires, again, the emotions and emotions of our Bharat culture and beyond that also. And here, Abhijitji comes into play, and Satya and Sattva of our Abhijitji. That. So now this is the kickstart of the second day of Godavari Samvad 2026. I earnestly request all of you to learn the toolkit and analyze all the narratives and to find out what is the truth, and not only that, सत्य पाहिजेच आहे, पण ते योग्य आहे का हे पण आपण बघायचं आहे. खूप खूप धन्यवाद.
आज खरंच आपण प्रचंड भाग्यवान आहोत की आज आपल्याला प्रत्यक्ष ऐकायला मिळणार आहे अक्लेम्ड सायंटिस्ट, ऑथर आणि एक फिअरलेस पब्लिक इंटेलेक्च्युअल डॉक्टर आनंद रंगनाथनजी यांना. त्यांच्यासाठी एकदा जोरदार टाळ्या होऊन जाऊ देऊया. मी त्यांचा थोडक्यात परिचय करून देतो. Dr. Anand Ranganathan obtained his BSc degree in chemistry from St. Stephen's College, Delhi, which he went on a scholarship to Cambridge, UK, where he obtained his BA in Natural Sciences and his MA in his PhD. After a postdoctoral stint at Cambridge, Anandji returned to India to join International Center for Genetic Engineering and Biotechnology, Delhi, where he ran his lab for 16 years as a staff research scientist. In 2015, he joined the Special Center for Molecular Medicine, Jawaharlal Nehru University, Delhi, and became a full professor in 2019. His laboratory works in the area of directed evolution and pathogenesis with special emphasis on tuberculosis and malaria. Dr. Anand writes and appears frequently on television debates on politics, media, and science. His columns have appeared in Swarajya, DNA, NL, First Post, and Quartz. He is also a consulting editor of Swarajya. Dr. Anand has authored 5 books: The Land of the Wilted Rose, For Love and Honor, The Rat Eater, Sofal, and Hindus in Hindu Rashtra. His forthcoming book is on India's forgotten scientists. We are truly blessed to have you here, sir. Now I request mentor of Aayam Nashik, Shri Vivek Gokteji, to please felicitate him. Round of applause for Shri Vivek Gokteji. He is felicitating Dr. Anandji Ranganathan. आपल्या सोबत आहेत ऑथर, ब्रँडिंग एक्सपर्ट आणि यंग माइंड्सला कायम प्रेरणा देणारे श्री अभिजित जी जोग. त्यांच्यासाठी आपण एकदा जोरदार टाळ्या जाऊ देऊया. मी त्यांचा थोडक्यात परिचय करून देण्याचा प्रयत्न करतो. अभिजित जी जोग हे 4 बेस्ट सेलर पुस्तकांचे लेखक आहेत. यापैकी पहिलं पुस्तक असत्यमेव जयते हे भारताच्या इतिहासात जागोजागी कशी दिशाभूल करण्यात आली याचा पर्दाफाश करून खरा इतिहास सप्रमाण मांडते. यात आर्यांच्या तथाकथित आक्रमणापासून भारताच्या स्वातंत्र्य लढ्यापर्यंतच्या विस्तीर्ण कालखंडाचा आढावा घेण्यात आला आहे. अत्यंत वाचकप्रिय ठरलेलं हे पुस्तक मराठी, हिंदी, इंग्लिश आणि गुजराती भाषांमध्ये सुद्धा उपलब्ध आहे. त्यांचं जगाला पोखरणारी डावी वाळवी हे पुस्तक वामपंथी विचारसरणीचा मुळापासून आढावा घेते आणि या विचाराचा सांस्कृतिक मार्क्सवाद किंवा वोकिझम हा अवतार जगाला आतून कसा पोखरून टाकतोय यावर प्रकाश टाकतं. या पुस्तकांचं प्रकाशन पूजनीय मोहनजी भागवत यांच्या हस्ते झाल्यापासून अल्पावधीतच याच्या 11 आवृत्त्या प्रकाशित झाल्या आहेत. भारताची खरी ओळख या विषयावरचं त्यांचं पुस्तक भारत, सत्य, सत्व आणि स्वत्व हे पुस्तक नुकतंच प्रकाशित झालंय. हे पुस्तक इंग्लिशमध्ये भारत दॅट इज इंडिया या नावाने उपलब्ध आहे. सामाजिक माध्यमांवर हेरिटेज फर्स्ट या पेजचं ते लेखन करतात. अभिजित जी हे नामवंत ब्रँड कन्सल्टंट आहेत आणि त्यांचं ब्रँडिंगवर आधारित मराठीतलं पहिलंच पुस्तक ब्रँड नामा प्रचंड लोकप्रिय आहे. रोटरी चळवळीतून ते सामाजिक कार्यात सहभागी होतात आणि भारताचा खरा इतिहास आणि संस्कृती याविषयी जाणीव जागृती ते सर्व शक्तीनिशी करत असतात. आपण त्यांच्यासाठी एकदा कडकडीत टाळ्या होऊन जाऊ देऊ. मी विनंती करतो आयाम नाशिकचे कार्यवाह श्री विवेक बापटजी यांना की त्यांनी श्री अभिजित जी जोग यांचा सत्कार करावा. खूप खूप धन्यवाद. आता आपण या कार्यक्रमाला ज्यांचं मोलाचं सहकार्य लाभलं असे आपले प्रायोजक यांचा सत्कार करणार आहोत. सगळ्यात आधी मी विनंती करतो आयाम नाशिकच्या विश्वस्त शुभदा देसाईजी यांना की त्यांनी आपले प्रायोजक आर्मस्ट्रॉंग रोबोटिक्स प्रायव्हेट लिमिटेडचे डिरेक्टर्स वीणाजी माजगावकर आणि विनीत माजगावकर यांचा सत्कार करावा. आपण लगेचच आता पॅनल डिस्कशनला सुरुवात करणार आहोत. पण या पॅनल डिस्कशनची सुरुवात आपण करणार आहोत प्रतिमा पूजनाने. मी विनंती करतो मान्यवरांना की त्यांनी कृपया प्रतिमा पूजन करावं. खूप खूप धन्यवाद. तो शुरू करते हैं हमारे पहले सत्र को जो है पैनल डिस्कशन. आज के पहले सत्र का विषय है स्वबोध, शत्रुबोध और भारतबोध. स्वबोध यानी खुद को पहचानने की शक्ति, शत्रुबोध मतलब दुश्मन को समझने की सजगता और भारतबोध का अर्थ है अपनी जड़ों को, अपनी पहचान को जानने का प्रकाश. आज हम इसी त्रिसूत्री पर चिंतन करेंगे जो व्यक्ति को समर्थ बनाती है, समाज को सतर्क रखती है और राष्ट्र को सशक्त बनाती है. हमारे माननीय पैनलिस्ट श्री आनंद जी रंगनाथन और श्री अभिजीत जी जोग, मैं अनुरोध करता हूं आप सभी से कि आप पैनल डिस्कशन की शुरुआत करें.
नमस्कार. It's always a great pleasure to come to Nashik, especially for Godavari Samvad, because for the last 3 years, coming every year, and I think the event is getting better and better, and I must compliment the entire IAM team for doing a great job. I think this particular Lit Fest has now become a part of national calendar, not just Nasik's calendar. So it's a very proud moment for all Nasikkars. Now to begin our session today, the two people sitting on the stage are dressed as differently as chalk and cheese. And the difference doesn't end there. What I can say in 3 minutes, Anand can say in 30 seconds. So there are many such differences, but there is one common point also, that we don't pull our punches. So I punch through my books, Anand punches through his 30-second demolition of anti-India brigade. So in this session, we can expect some fireworks, because wherever there is Anand Ranganathan, fireworks can't be far away from there. So let's begin. Anand, first I'll hand over to you. You start with your comments about the subject. Generally, what we have decided is that Swabodh, Shatrubodh, and Bharatbodh, I will speak from the historical perspective, and Anand will highlight more about the manifestation of that history in the situation today. Am I right, Anand?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much, Abhijit, and thank you so much, my dear friends and the organizers, Milinji, everyone. It's a real pleasure and an honor to be here amongst you. What can I say? It's overwhelming to be in Nashik right now. I think a couple of things come to mind. One is jumping straight into the topic, Abhijit ji. The three things, when you talk about the three bodhs, I would say they are like the confluence of, if I can permit me to use the cliched metaphor of Ganga, Jamna, Saraswati. I think the three have intermingled now to such an extent that I think for the next 1 hour, I would like to request that we talk about everything, of course, as Indians we all are, but more importantly as Hindus. Because I think the time has come. The time has come for us to realize that India cannot be saved if Hindus are not saved. And we aren't just talking about this, We don't know the right handles, the right buttons to push. We think that strength comes from us being a billion strong. Nothing could be more wrong, So I think I'll hand over the mic to you, because I think let's go in that sequence. So start with the historical perspective, and then we'll come and discuss about all the bodhs to, So, and I think, please, I would want you to not restrict yourself to just the Swabodh as far as historical perspective, but, talk about all the three bodhs coming from the historical perspective. Yeah.
Actually, the problem in this subject is we speak about Swabodh, Shatrubodh, and Bharatbodh, but Shatrubodh today has become a part of Swabodh, because the biggest enemies of our country are within ourselves. Like General Rawat used to say that India has to fight a 2.5 front war. So we can take on Pakistan and China, but 0.5 front, which is inside India, is the biggest problem. And that is where we have to focus our attention, is what I feel. So coming to the root of all these problems is, I feel, the distortion of our history and wiping off our understanding of who we are. So reclaiming our identity is what is the need of the hour, is what I feel, because our identity has been completely wiped out by some expansionist forces like imperialists like Britain, and ideological expansionist forces like communists. So both of these powerful ideologies and identities had decided that we will make Indians forget who they are. And I'll just read out one small para to you. I'll quote Czech and French novelist Milan Kundera, who says, and I quote, "The first step in liquidating a people is to erase its memory, destroy its books, its culture, its history. Then have somebody write new books, manufacture a new culture, invent a new history. Before long, that nation will begin to forget what it is and what it was. The struggle for man against power is the struggle of memory against forgetting. I think this sums up everything that is wrong with India. That our history has been distorted, our identity has been distorted, we have been made to forget our books have been positioned as something which is very backward, and forgetting them and ignoring them is equated with modernity. So that is where we have lost the understanding of who we are. And that is where I think the problem starts. Because loss of identity is like loss of our backbone. So body without a backbone has got a very poor existence. Many of you are from earlier generations. You definitely remember Australian cricket captain Ian Chappell. He had said that Indian cricketers, many from Indian team are very talented, but they are almost apologetic while competing. So this apologetic feeling about your own existence, about your own identity, is something which has been imposed on us. That was never a part of our identity. But because we were told that India was never a nation, it all started with that. They said that India became a nation only when British brought entire geography under their political control. But they didn't understand that India is not a political state, but it's a civilizational state. The basis of our nationhood is not political, but it is civilizational, it is cultural. But our own people bought into that theory, which they imposed on us, that India was never a nation. Even today, we have many amongst us who say that India was never a nation. It became a nation only when British brought it under its control. So that was first. They denationalized us. Anand, I'll take a little more time. I know everybody is waiting to listen to you. But I will just create the foundation and then you can take over. So one was denationalize. Second was desocialize. So what they did is they wiped off the existence of our society as a culturally united group. To do that, they introduced some fictional theories like Aryan invasion theory. So they said that everything good you have, like Sanskrit language, Vedic literature, has been given to you by people coming from the West, white people with golden hair and blue eyes. So suddenly it was a big punch for our civilization because we were told that you have nothing of your own. Then they said that when Greeks came with Alexander, from them you learnt science, philosophy, literature, poetry, everything you learned from them. And now British have come, they are giving you railways and post office and everything, so you should be very happy, we are coming here to civilize you. So we started believing all this. And then our own self-image was completely not just distorted, but I would say destroyed. And that is where that self-flagelling, self-effacing, somebody who is completely dominated by what you call, आपण त्याला काय म्हणतो, न्यूनगंड. So with all these things, they were imposed on our identity, our existence, and that is where this Swabodh was completely destroyed. Because Swabodh was destroyed, Bharatbodh was also destroyed, because we were told that Bharat is a collection of illiterate, poor, backward, superstitious people. It was never a country, but it's just a mob with all these adjectives. So again we started believing all that. Whereas Bharat really is the cradle of civilization and language. All European languages except 3 have their roots in India. Bharat was the world's first knowledge society. The foundation of all knowledge disciplines was created in India. Bharat was world's first economic superpower. Till 1000 AD, 1000 CE, out of world's GDP, 33% was from Bharat. But we never knew that. We were told that India has always been poor, and only when the British came, in fact, we became poor when the British came. So, and the most important part is, India is the home or origin of all universal human values, like democracy, like freedom of thought, like respect for environment, like inclusivity. Whereas now the world is lecturing us about how we should be inclusive, how we should be tolerant, and things like that. So this is something which has destroyed our Swabodh, destroyed our Bharatbodh, and that has kept the doors open for Shatru to enter and destroy us. So Shatrubodh also originates from this, is what I feel.
Thank you very much, Abhijit, for that primer. And I think now we can, going forward, we would like to have a substantial chunk of time for an interactive question and answer thing as well. There's a lot to learn from the audience. And I think from here on, we can have a freewheeling discussion, and please feel free to jump in, whenever we want. I just thought from the excellent points that you've made, I'd like to wean out a few things that are now not just important for us as a country, but I personally believe as a civilization. And the fact of the matter is that everything that you said is absolutely spot on, except that I feel that I'm transported back in time. I feel we are having this discussion on 15th of May 2014. And on 16th, of course, is when Narendra Modi won the landslide election. I think it was 16th of May 2014. So we are having this discussion on 15th of May saying that, look, everything is so wrong. We've been taught all the wrong books. We've been brainwashed into self-loathing, self-flagellation. All our heroes have been transformed into tyrants, and all our tyrants have been transformed into heroes. The places that were destroyed by these invaders and tyrants have been named on them. Everything is so wrong. And then I feel, yes, you're absolutely right, but this discussion belonged on 15th of May 2014, when we would have ended that discussion saying we need to change things. We need a man who would come, not galloping on a horse, but a man who would be democratically elected, who would fight all this. And we would give that man time. And then Abhijit ji, you being kind, you say, well, how much time, Anand, would you need? 1 year, 2 years, 5 years? I'd say, yeah, okay, let's 10 years. And then you say, well, why not? I'll throw in one extra. Let's say 11 years. Would 11 years be okay for you to change things? I would say, yeah, of course. And everyone in the audience would clap and said, yes. From now on 15th May 2014, let us take a vow that 11 years from now, on 7th of December 2025, we would not be talking about all these tyrants and how we've been brainwashed and how we are self-flagellating. And the tragedy is, Abhijit ji, we are still talking about that. So who is to blame? And this is where I want, at the risk of annoying some people, but all of you are my family and friends, and many people ask me, can you just tone down your criticism? I say, no, I need to increase it, because expectations to family se hi hoti hain, So I need to tell the truth which is unvarnished. That is what I feel. I may be wrong, absolutely, and I accept that wholeheartedly. But the fact of the matter is that this very discussion, the time was 11 years ago. The fact that we are having this discussion right now means that we do not and we cannot and we must not blame the communists or the leftists or the urban naxals or the congresses. No. We have to blame the people who need to be blamed for it. And the blame lies squarely on this government, on Mr. Narendra Modi, and on Dr. Mohan Bhagwat, and on the RSS. And they are my family. अभी लोगों को गुस्सा आ रहा होगा, लेकिन मैं थोड़ा और गुस्सा निकालना चाहता हूँ, क्योंकि this is a matter of the family. Let me give you two examples, blazing examples of how we have internalized victimhood to such an extent. The same victimhood that we rightfully thrust upon the others, the quote-unquote other side that is adept and professional at playing that victimhood, but we also are playing that victimhood. When the whole program started, the greatest song ever written, Vande Mataram, was being sung. And I see Vande Mataram as the greatest song, not just because it is the essence, the soul of this country, but the philosophy that it encompasses. It's basically equivalent to maybe 1,000 books. I see each word as a firefly settling on a paper, That is what Vande Mataram is. And when the wonderful rendition started, all of us gleefully sang the first paragraph. And then we turned silent as the second and the third paragraphs were sung, that eulogize and evoke Ma Durga, Saraswati as embodiment of our civilization, as what this country stands for. We were mumbling, I was mumbling, I don't know the words, nobody knows the words. The first paragraph everyone was singing. Why? It's because we've been pummeled into accepting that let this country accept a truncated national song, because Jinnah wanted that. It's funny, we are going to, or we've celebrated 150 years of the song. And the Prime Minister came on the 150th anniversary with great fanfare, rightfully so, evoked the Vande Mataram and talked about the fact that in 1937, when the Muslim League and Jinnah objected to this song being made the national song because it has those paragraphs that offend the people who do not want anything else or a country as an embodiment of what it actually is, our civilization. And then Nehru, a week, 10 days later, said, all right, it's fine by me, let's truncate Vande Mataram. And for 70 years, we are singing a truncated national song. What can be more embarrassing and insulting than that? And here we are, when the Prime Minister brought it out in the open, a lot of us did. What is the logical thing that you need to do? The logical thing is, if you think that truncation of that song was wrong, morally and ethically, you have the power to correct it. You have the power to restore those two paragraphs. Have those two paragraphs been restored? No, they haven't. And this cycle will be repeated on the 151st anniversary, 152nd anniversary. We would come, leaders would come, and they would berate Nehru and the Congress, rightfully so. But they would never correct their mistake. What's the point of screaming from the rooftops and listing out these mistakes that all of us do, unless we correct those mistakes? And I'll tell you what the tragedy is. The tragedy is that those two paragraphs not only should have been restored in 1950 when it was made as our national song, they should have been restored last week, 10 days ago, at least then, 60 years after they should have been. They haven't been. And this is not something that you need to do for Muslims. This is something that you need to do for Hindus. We could not remember those paragraphs. Forget about teaching our history to other community. We need to teach our history to our own. We could not remember those words. The two paragraphs have to be restored for Hindus, not for Muslims or Christians. That's the tragedy. We don't realize where the dart has to be thrown. The hand has to be inverted and the dart has to be thrown at us so that we wake up. And I'll tell you why the objection of the other side is completely specious. I exposed it 3 days ago on television. The fact of the matter is, they don't even want to sing the truncated song. When the reference of Ma Durga, Saraswati and Lakshmi ji has been removed. Even that song, many MPs have gotten up when that song was sung in the parliament and walked away. They don't want to sing that song. Don't force us. And fine, it's not obligatory. Even that is not obligatory. But why do they not want to sing the song that has those 2 paragraphs, reference to our gods? They're not, to me, they're not God, they're embodiment of what this civilization is. At any function, be it the inauguration of a scientific conference or any other conference, do we not evoke Ma Saraswati? Is she a goddess for us? No, she is an embodiment of what wisdom, education, this civilization stands for. They don't want to sing those paragraphs. To that, then I asked a Muslim panelist, do you have an objection as a Muslim organization when a Muslim hero, who's a military hero, is in Garhwal regiment and we're having a war and they come out of the trenches and charge at the enemy saying Badri Vishal ki jai? All of that's the chant of the regiment. And he said, no. As a Muslim and General Ataya Hussain is, one of our heroes. He's won us wars. And you ask him, and he gleefully chants Badri Vishal ki jai. That is actually a god, Badri Vishal ki jai. I said, do you have any objection if a Muslim hero, war hero, our hero, my hero, is in Rajputana rifles and he sings while charging at the enemy, Bajrang Bali ki jai, that's their war cry. Or Gurkha rifles, you have Kali Ma ki jai. No objection. Then why do you object when Bharat Ma is given this metaphor of Ma Durga or this thing? There is no answer. It is specious. And this is why I say, when you talk of all the bodhs, stop blaming the other side. Stop it. I was doing the same. And that moment when we should have stopped was on 15th May 2014. We will discuss this further as the time goes on, but I would love your interjection and your...
Yeah. I totally agree with you that compared to Prime Minister Modi's performance in infrastructure, in welfare, in national security, in international relations, his performance on the civilizational issues leaves a lot to be desired. That is something definitely we can all agree. Because there is a clear gap. If it is 10 on 10, this is something like 4 on 10 or 5 on 10 or whatever. You may be giving it 2 on 10, I don't know, but something like that. But again, I think we have to consider...
Actually, as I said, please. I don't blame Modi at all. Because I blame the RSS.
Okay.
Yeah. Give me one instance where the RSS has wanted something and its political wing, the BJP, has refused. I can't think of one instance. So where does the weakness to demand something for the community lie? And I'm not saying this off the cuff. If you go back to rss.org, that's the website, you have the glorious 1925 and of course 100 years anniversary is being celebrated. You have the mission, RSS mission. And nobody could have encapsulated what the mission of an organization should be. It says, to save Hindustan, you have to save Hindus and Hinduism. That's it.
But I think, Anand...
Are Hindus and Hinduism being saved? The answer is no. So how on earth will you save? So I don't blame Modi for it.
Yeah, but I was just coming to some other point that, I spoke about the British and leftists, and they have indoctrinated our country for last many years. And you are saying that don't speak about them, but why it is necessary to still to speak about them, I feel, is that the British started this indoctrination around 1830, when they introduced the Aryan invasion theory, and that is at the root of all the civilizational problems that we have. And since then, it's about 150 years now, maybe. Not 150, in fact, close to 200 years. So, we have been indoctrinated for so long. after 1947, that indoctrination still continued, unfortunately, because we had a government and a prime minister who was completely convinced of the left as well as the British way of thinking. So, British indoctrination happened for last 200 years. Now the Marxist indoctrination, which we today call as cultural Marxism because they infiltrate our organizations and weaken it from inside, subvert it from inside. Like termites, that's why I called my book as Termites. They started this around 1920, 1930. So again, it's more than almost 100 years now. So the indoctrination which has happened for 200 years from one side and 100 years from the other side, to expect that it should be completely cleared in 11 years is something I feel,
Now it's getting heated up. Now it's getting heated up.
Let me just complete a couple of sentences. So, it is not possible because what I feel is these are the decisions, they cannot be ordered from the top. This is something which can't happen top-down approach. It has to happen bottom-up approach. And bottom-up approach, if you have to do it, हमको करना है, so first that indoctrination has to be removed from the minds of people. And that is something which has happened over 200 and 100 years. That removal of that indoctrination in one decade, I think is little difficult. Modi can order something from the top, but still it will not happen, or RSS can ask for that order to be issued. But still that will not happen if the indoctrination has not been removed, is what I feel.
Okay, I totally, completely, utterly disagree with you. And that is the reason why I see you as my elder brother, because the duty of a younger brother is to completely disagree. You're right, 11 years you talk about. I agree, 11 years is, maybe the time is not enough. For me, it should be one day. On 17th of May 2014, the Prime Minister should have removed Aurangzeb Road, Aurangzeb Lane. Babar Lane Road is still there. Tughlaq Lane is still there. Bakhtiarpur, the name is still there. You know who removed Aurangabad? After decades, it wasn't BJP. It was the last act of Uddhav Thackeray, the outgoing Uddhav Thackeray. The BJP wanted it done. BJP didn't do it. So what's the point when you bring out an instance or a tragedy that needs to be corrected, and when you are in power, you don't correct it? So 11 years, I completely agree with you. It should have been one day. And I'll tell you, the consequences are so disastrous. And again, I disagree with you. Abhijit ji is going to beat me up in a minute, but so that's why I'll throw open the audience thing. When you say the change has to come from bottom up, I totally disagree. The awareness can come from bottom up, but the change has to come from top down. We cannot march down to Nalanda and Bakhtiarpur and change the name to Bakhtiarpur. No. It is the Prime Minister who needs to do that. It is the President who needs to do that. We cannot stop eulogizing Saint Xavier's, who wanted destruction of Hindu idols and Hinduism. We cannot, stop the donation of chadar every year at Ajmer in honor of the person who wanted to destroy Hindu temples, who fought alongside Ghori to subjugate Chauhan. Prime Minister needs to do that. Is the Prime Minister doing it? No, the Prime Minister is donating chadars, the Prime Minister is eulogizing St. Xavier's. You're doing the opposite things. So step one is at least stop doing that. Then come at removal. That's point number one. Point number two, I'll tell you the psychological damage this does. Because the other side is absent, and by other side I mean, it's not other side meaning I have identified them. Anybody who disagrees with what the right thing needs to be done, anybody who doesn't want to fight discrimination is for me the other side. It could be Hindus, there could be anybody. It's not that I have identified them. They would be identified by their demeanor, by their actions or lack thereof. The recent controversy, the Thiruparam hill, where the Deepathun, the Hindus, all they want to do is to light a lamp at a hill that has a temple that predates Islam by 600 years. That's all they want to do. You call this fascist Hindu Rashtra? What kind of Hindu Rashtra is this, where the Hindus have to approach the court and say, my lord, we want to light a simple lamp. The court says yes, not once but twice. And then the ruling dispensation, the government doesn't allow it. The second time doesn't allow, it is after the hearing of the contempt of court proceedings. The third time now it's gone to the Supreme Court. Have you heard Prime Minister Modi saying anything about this? Have you heard the upper echelons of the government say anything about this? Have you heard Dr. Mohan Bhagwat saying anything about this? The army should have been called in to accompany the person who wanted to light that lamp. That's the message that needs to be given. This is not a question of usurping somebody else's rights. This is not a question of flexing your muscle. It's a question of doing the right thing. It's a question of abiding by the court order. If you don't do that, then I'm afraid let me involve the audience, because I think Abhijit, they are the real arbiters of, they are the ones who decide whether we are right or wrong. Not that they're always right, but it's always, good to interact with them. And I'm going to ask very simple logical question, and please pardon me if I come across as patronizing. That's not the whole point of this exercise. Please, I want a show of hands as to how many of you felt that the British were anti-India. Please raise your hands. Of course, all the hands have gone up. And I'll tell you why they were anti-India. Of course, they subjugated us, and they ruled over us, and they terrorized us, and killed millions of us, and manufactured 12 famines, and looted 45 trillion. Of course, they were anti-India. But they were also anti-India because they ruled us through laws that were anti-Indian laws. And they had the pretext that, look, we are following a law. Well, the law was anti-Indian. So just a couple of examples. For examples, and we were talking about how Maharashtra and this entire region has so much love for theatre. The Britishers had a dramatics law where you could not actually publicly hold a theatre or a skit, either on the street or in a theatre or in a hall. So that was construed as evoking the national sentiment or anti-British sentiment. There was, believe it or not, a law that was promulgated. They had the sedition law, where you could not say anything against the government of the time. So they were anti-Indian laws. Now, the Britishers went, in came Nehru and the Congress, and the Nehru and the Congress, they continued with those anti-Indian laws. So a very simple show of hands out here. If another entity continues with anti-Indian laws that were brought about by anti-Indians, Britishers, as you've all raised your hands, would you say the Congress was also anti-Indian? Please raise your hands. How many of you feel? Yes, all the hands have gone up. So the logic is this. You have anti-Indian entity that has brought in anti-Indian laws. They've gone away. But the new coming entity has continued with those anti-Indian laws. Are they anti-Indian? Everyone feels they are anti-Indian. Now the Congress in the last 70 years has brazenly brought in actually constitutional, legal, social, educational, anti-Hindu laws. For example, the Waqf Act, in the last 10 years, 20 lakh acres have been usurped. Even a 1500-year-old temple in Tamil Nadu has been claimed to be on Islamic land when Islam is only 1300 years old. Ye kaise hua, mujhe bhi nahi pata. Okay, maybe, I don't know, maybe this theater is on Waqf land. It might be. Jokingly, I said, I was in Times Now studio and I said, Navika, please check whether this studio is on Waqf. It turned out to be on Waqf land. Then she said, I will go to the High Court. I said, that's also on Waqf land. 71% of Delhi is on Waqf land. Blatantly anti-Hindu laws were promulgated. You had the Places of Worship Act, which is blatantly as anti-Hindu as you can be, that bars Hindus from even approaching the courts to seek possession or reclamation of their demolished places of worship. You have only the temples, Hindu places of worship under state control, not mosques, not churches, not gurdwaras. These are anti-Hindu laws. So you agree that Congress that has brought in these laws, how many of you raise your hands, do you think Congress is anti-Hindu? Please raise your hands. All the hands have gone up. Now, the Congress has gone. It's been 11 years. Some entity has replaced the Congress, okay? But each and every anti-Hindu law continues. Each and every. Places of Worship Act continues. Temples, even more temples are under state control than they were under Congress. You have the Waqf Act that continues. You have all the anti-Hindu legislations that continue. You have the most devastating RTE Act in conjunction with the 93rd Amendment that continues, that puts the obligation of having 25% reservations for the economically weaker section only on Hindu-run schools, not on Muslim or Christian-run schools. As a result, tens of thousands of only Hindu-run schools have shut down. And the parents of the Hindu kids are sending their kids to Muslim and Christian-run schools. What's going to happen after 20, 30 years when conversions happen? Then we'll be silent. All those laws, anti-Hindu laws, are continuing. Now the question is, Congress is gone. You said Congress was anti-Hindu because it brought in anti-Hindu laws. The anti-Hindu laws continues. So what would you call that government under which the anti-Hindu laws continue? Please raise your hands. All the hands have gone up. I didn't say BJP was anti-Hindu. All of you said it. If I go to jail tomorrow, I'll send all of you guys to jail as well. But that was on a lighter note. On a serious note, that's what logic is. This is what we are missing. And I think, Abhijit ji, the three boards have to come together.
Definitely.
It's not a renaissance that we're asking. The renaissance has come. And believe me, we are talking here because we have the means, we have the social media, we have a podium, we have a platform. Hundreds before us have spoken about it. You know, Majumdar ji, Sitaram Goel, stalwarts, even Arun Shori, even though now I don't know what's happened to him. But you know, they were inspirations, they were trendsetters. They spoke about it. It's just they were in an era where people did not have access to what they were saying. So the bottom up has been done and dusted. The top down is one where the dereliction of duty is. Thank you.
Actually, I couldn't agree more with most of the things that you have said, that Waqf Act must be cancelled, Bakhtiarpur must be forthwith changed. I mean, I have written about it in Asatyameva Jayate with all the passion. So there is no doubt that these things must be done. But I think changes can be brought only when they can be implemented. There is a situation in the country in which those changes can be implemented without creating a great disturbance, is what I feel. And there are many changes which have been brought already, like Ram Mandir has happened, Article 370 has been removed, and many such decisions that we were very fervently hoping that those decisions will be taken, those decisions have been taken, implemented. I'll give you one example how it is difficult in the circumstances where the mind is indoctrinated to take a decision. All of you must have heard about grooming gangs in Britain, where a lot of Pakistani men actually, I have to use that word, raped thousands of British teenagers and even younger girls. Thousands. And it continued for years together. But the British government had no guts to take a decision, take any action against it, because they didn't want to be seen as Islamophobes. So this Islamophobia is the weaponization of one word, Islamophobia, has prevented once a great superpower like Britain not to take any action against those people. Even they don't even mention who they are. Now, when they are forced to mention, they are saying that they're South Indian men. They still can't say that they're Pakistani men. So why is British government so incapable of taking this decision? Because the environment in the country has accepted political correctness as one of the
Not environment, Abhijit ji, they are cowards.
no.
I will say the words that maybe you want to say.
I think.
And I'll give you two reasons. Sorry for interrupting because I want this heated up. I have the urge to pick up the mic.
We are in any case discussing. But what I feel is any country, I really can't believe that they don't want to take any decision or don't want to take any action. They are scared because of the mood in the countries. They are not sure that it is 100% going to welcome this decision, is what I feel. Because
Tell me one decision of Modi that anybody has welcomed 100% by the other side. Even making toilets was not welcome. They said it is going to take away the bonding time that women have 6 o'clock in the morning. When they go to the fields, they talk to each other. Why is Modi building toilets? Even Fit India, which is a laudable effort, was criticized. वो तो मोदी जी कहेंगे प्राणायाम करो, वो तो सांस लेना बंद कर देंगे. So if we worry about validation from the other side, that obviously is running a propaganda and a false agenda. The mistake is not theirs, the mistake is ours. And I'll give you, Abhijit ji, two examples that are contemporary examples. This perpetual victimhood of the other side, when it is not pointed out and corrected, will lead to a situation where the suffering would be done not by them, felt not by them, but by us. And it has reached that situation already. We are the ones, the Hindu society is the one that is being discriminated against. And what is the crowd shouting from the rooftops? That they are being discriminated against. Their mosques are not under control. The tens of millions of dollars or billions of dollars that come in donations to them do not go to the government. The mosque land is not under control. In fact, this so-called Hindutvavadi government will give you interest-free loans if you want to set up shops on Waqf land. Ganga ulti beh rahi hai. You have a minority government, a minority ministry that was started by the UPA. It is still continuing. Each and every anti-Hindu thing is continuing. Now it has reached a situation where you cannot even quote the scriptures of the other religious community. It leads to bloodshed, threats of civil war, unrest, thousands of crores of economic loss. For what? For quoting what is already there. That is what. You are pummeled because you are being bullied. The bully watches you. It's like Trump. Trump watches you. If you're being bullied and you accept being bullied, he will bully you more. You got to stand up. Let me give you one final example of this. You have recently a situation where this government and Modi are being called dictator and discrimination is being rampant. Why? Because a medical institute of excellence, Shri Mata Vaishno Devi, built using 500 crores of every rupee donated by Hindu devotees. Every single rupee. Now, if you have every single rupee donated by Muslim devotees to some Muslim place of worship, that is then controlled by Waqf or Darul Uloom, 100% built on Muslim donations, 100% seats are for Muslim students. You have dozens of such places where private enterprises, Muslims give donations, and forget about Muslim donations. You have Jamia Millia Islamia, 100% run by the central government, secular government. 50% seats are reserved for Muslims. Here you have 100% donations given by Hindus. And yet 84% of the seats are given to Muslims. What's going on out here? This is the situation result if you don't stand up. And this has been pointed out 3 weeks ago. Do you think BJP doesn't know this? Do you think RSS does not? Do you think the Lieutenant Governor, who by the way, he hates me because he was sitting in one of the things and I said you should be suspended for 6 months. बड़ी problem हो गई थी, जम्मू से भाग के आना पड़ा था. That's why I'm saying मुझे मत बुलाया करो मिलिंद जी, मैं हर जगह एक ही जगह बुलाया जाता हूँ एक ही बार.
No, I fully...
So, I mean, what is the step that has been taken? Has that hospital, and by the way, it's being illegal. A lot of people have told me that they haven't even reserved seats for SC/STs. They haven't reserved any seats. Forget about 50% seats for Hindus. वो तो किया ही नहीं, यहाँ तो मतलब and I was corrected by a doctor saying, I'm sorry, you are wrong. It's not 84%. It is 94%. Has any action been taken? Do we want another 11 years for action to be taken? It's a very simple question. It should have been taken within 24 hours. And because it has not been taken, you have the perpetual victim machinery now up and running in motion. Umar Abdullah coming and saying, religion mat lao beech mein, ye seats to bhai merit pe hain. अरे भाई अगर मेरिट पे हैं तो अपने स्टेट गवर्नमेंट का पैसा खर्च करके हॉस्पिटल बनाओ, वो भी बना रहे हैं, वहां पे सीट्स रिजर्व्ड हैं, लेकिन यहां पे you don't have any this thing. This is the problem.
But what I'm trying to tell you is I completely agree that all these steps have to be taken. There is no doubt about it. All of us want that these steps have to be taken. But look at any democratic country in the world and tell me one democratic country which is able to withstand the pressure of the leftist jihadist alliance. I mean, all European countries, don't they understand that they're committing a suicide by allowing open borders and free immigration? But they can't resist it because of this environment which is created in the world, with the ideological pressure which is created in the world, only on democratic countries, not on other countries. And India is especially more inflammable. So I think the decisions, I'm sure Mr. Modi also wants all these things to be done. There is no doubt about it. But
Vijay, I'll tell you, I agree we are inflammable, but we are inflammable only because we are not acting. If we remove the discrimination against Hindus, the Muslims and everybody else will understand that we are all equal. They have stopped considering themselves as equal. They are considering themselves as more than equal. They are demanding more rights. And the moment you do that, you create an unequal society. You want to create an unequal society? Then let me say this. You don't want to remove state control over temples? Don't do it. Then put mosques also under state control. उसको secularism कहना है. वो करेंगे क्या? तब होंगे दंगे.
the point of debate is...
I won't interrupt now. I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay. Perfectly fine. The point of debate is not whether whatever you are saying are the things that you are saying should be done or not. Everybody wants them to be done. All of us want them to be done. But whether we can blame the government for not doing it is the only question that we are debating. Because when you are arguing and convincing about the subject, we are already convinced. So we don't need any convincing. Because everybody knows that these things are wrong and they should be corrected. But whether all of them can be corrected at one time or not is something which I would rather leave it to the judgment of our government rather than pressurizing them. Because I feel if we lose this government, then the option is going to be disaster. So I would rather support the government than create issues which are going to put pressure on them. At the same time, there is no disagreement about the correctness of your argument. I mean, it's 100% correct. And all of us are equally passionate and equally hurt that these things are not happening. There is no doubt about it. But at the same time, what is the best way out? Is the best way out to all the time rant against our government, or have some faith and stand behind the government is the only subject which I am discussing.
Okay, that is one point of view, of course. What can I say? Look, I think I am a man of black and white, you know. So I think if somebody is convinced as to you need to remove injustice, you want to do the right thing. As I said, you don't need 11 years, you need 11 minutes. Otherwise, you're not convinced. You say, convince me more and more and more and more. You see how it happens in your family. I mean, this country is my family. And the damage that is being caused as every moment passes is incalculable. The damage that is being caused is that the Muslims have their mosques and their churches and the money that they make out of it, thousands, tens of thousands of crores, the land that they own, the rent that they can set by themselves. Hindus can't do that. And all those tens of thousands of crores are being used by them to set up tens of thousands of schools and hospitals. And India is a poor country. And you can coerce anybody to come and change religion. You say, I'll send your kids to school. Oh, you are sick, your family is sick, I'll give you a hospital. Hindu temples can't do that because their money has been taken by the government. So it's all very well for you not to specify a time frame that all of us know this is wrong. But how much time do you need? Do you think that much time is enough when there is no Hindu left and everyone's converted? Because logically you want to send your child to school, you want your wife or your husband not to die. So you would take the services of the person who's offering. Who wouldn't? The fact of the matter is, when you are preferentially only shutting down Hindu-run schools, your kids are going to Muslim-run schools. How much more time do you need? The RTE Act was passed in 2009, if I'm not mistaken. The 93rd Amendment came during that time with the help of the BJP. It's been 14 years. You tell me if Muslim and Christian-run schools have been shut down with the same speed as Hindu-run schools. 20 years down the line, you would understand this. Then you would say, well, yes, we should have acted before. That's all I'm saying. The time frame has to be dictated, Abhijit ji.
I'll just give you one example. See, like I said, whether it is desirable, yes, it is desirable. Will it be correct to take these decisions? Yes, it will be correct to take these decisions. But remember Kisan Andolan. They sat and blocked the streets and all that. In fact, the farm laws were wonderful changes that Modi government had introduced. They were extremely important for the country. They would have changed the face of our agriculture. So those laws were most desirable. And when farmers blocked the roads, all of us were saying that why doesn't the government just lift them from there and clear the road? When they entered New Delhi and flew the Khalistan flag on...
They weren't farmers, they were middlemen.
Whatever. Yeah. I mean, let me just complete. So we were all angry that why is the government not taking any action? But that is the trap. What happened in Bangladesh is the moment Sheikh Hasina fired on the students, everything blew up and her government was completely thrown out of power. In such circumstances, one has to keep patience. And in Nepal and Bangladesh, the government didn't keep patience, and that's why the government was thrown out, and in a very bloody manner. So whether it is right or not is not important. Whether it can be done in a particular manner or not is something to be left to the people who understand the entire situation, because we are not privy to lot of information. Whereas there must be some reasons why it is not doable in a manner that we desire. All of us we desire. Like in case of Kisan Andolan, we all desired that the roads must have been cleared and the farm laws implemented because they were good for the country. But Modi had to withdraw them. He knows the reasons best why he had to withdraw them. And so...
It seemed like a junkie to get hold of the mic.
No, please go ahead. No. So that is what I am saying, that certain decisions have to be taken and they are desirable, but whether they can be taken right now or not, whether they can be taken in what manner they can be taken is something which can be decided only by the people who have got access to all the information, is what I feel. And particularly if we trust the leadership. Fundamentally, if we don't trust the leadership, then it's a different matter. But if we trust the leadership, then I think we should give them a long rope, is what I feel.
Well, I mean, as I said, that's one view of Abhijit ji, but I humbly disagree, because in this context, the word that you use, patience, according to me, has a synonym. and that is being a coward. Because when you had the farm laws that were promulgated, the greatest reform in independent India brought in by Modi, and Modi must have thought these are the easiest reforms to bring because he didn't promise them. BJP didn't promise them. The opposition parties promised them. They were in the Congress manifesto. They were in the election promises of TMC, of AAP and everything. You said, ये तो मैंने promise ही नहीं किया था, पर मैं ला रहा हूँ, so it's the easiest thing to do. Little did he know. All the opposition parties, including the Congress, the Kisan unions, everyone took a U-turn. So that should have been the first pointer. That you are doing the right thing because it was promised by them. They are reneging because of other reasons, not because of moral or ethical or logical or rational reasons. And when you have a country where you lay siege to the capital, you block by these 2.5 to 3 million middlemen, as I call them, who drive around in Mercedes. They're not farmers. That incidentally, the number is 250 to 300 million who are actually working every single day in far-flung areas, who could not come to lay siege to the capital and blackmail the government illegally. And when you renege on those farm laws, did you compensate 3,500 crores per day for the entire year that the nation faced the economic loss? You didn't do that. Did you compensate the farmers that you promised a golden period, doubling of the income because of the farm laws, because they would make them more prosperous? You didn't do that. You haven't even given the reason why you repealed the farm laws. It's all very well for you to say, कोई तो reason होगा, हमेशा कोई ना कोई reason होता है. Lekin in a democracy, when that reason affects 300 million people directly and 800 million people indirectly, you're supposed to, as a leader, give that reason. Otherwise, don't have a democracy. That's point number one. Point number two, when I talk about patience versus cowardliness, this government decides when it needs to be a coward and convert that into patience, and when it is fearless and ruthless. And I'll give you two examples when it was not a coward. When you brought in Article 370 on 4th of August, did you not send in the army in Kashmir to forestall any problem that would occur there? तब तो आर्मी भेज दी थी. तब आपको चिंता नहीं थी कि प्रोटेस्ट होंगे. अभी लेह लद्दाख में क्या किया उन्होंने? लेह लद्दाख में चुपचाप बैठे रहे. प्रोटेस्ट चल रहे हैं अभी लेह लद्दाख में. क्या प्रोटेस्ट चले थे कश्मीर में? एक साल तक सारे लीडर्स, ओमर अब्दुल्ला की इतनी बड़ी बड़ी दाढ़ी हो गई थी क्योंकि अंदर डाल दिए थे उनको. तब तो बड़ा वो दिखाया था हिम्मत. Why? Because as a state you were doing the right thing and you said, this is what I will do. I will stand up to bullying and I will stand up to illegality. When it suits you. And when you are a coward, then you allow a bunch of Khalistanis and others to march into Red Fort, the symbol of our democratic India, climb up a flagpole, remove the Indian flag and put another thing there. And then everything is all right and you've rationalized it saying that koi to patience dikhaiye, koi reason to hoga. I'm sorry, tolerating anarchy ka koi reason nahi hota except being a coward.
No, but what I feel is we should compare what happened in Bangladesh. She didn't show what happened in Nepal, what happened in Bangladesh. They didn't show patience and their government is out. Whereas in Bharat, we showed patience and our government is still there, is one point. And another point is, if they have the guts to take such a strong action in Kashmir, but at some other place they don't take that action, there must be some reason, obviously. I mean, because...
That's why I can't be in politics. He's the next home minister. I can't be minister even at my home.
Because, isn't it? I mean, if they are so strong and then they can take a seemingly impossible decision of repealing Article 370, and they don't do the same thing in some other place, I'm sure if government can't be strong and weak at the same time, so there must be something, some reason for which they are not taking that action, is what I feel. Of course, 500% I agree with you that the points that you have mentioned are all desirable. They must be, those decisions must be taken. But I would rather wait, is what I'm saying. But now I think...
exactly what my wife says every time. I agree with you 100%, but I can't allow you to.
Anand, I think
Shall we throw it open
that's
to-
what I was saying, that this debate will never end because fundamentally we all agree on what is required. We are only debating about the path to go there. So now we can open the floor for questions.
आनंदजी, नाशिकमध्ये तुमचे खूप खूप स्वागत. I am Advocate Rajeshwari Balajiwale, and I just want to take you back to the initial discussion. You said no, it should come from the top to bottom. And as a practicing lawyer, I always feel and have observed general obedience is a big thing, Anandji. And if there is no general obedience, then things fail. Probably this is what Mr. Zog is trying to say. So if we are talking about take it from top to bottom, how do you look at it? Because you said you are a man of black and white, and my gray matter has this question for you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You know, when you're talking of general obedience, can I ask you rhetorically, why didn't Modi worry about the general obedience of the Muslims, 10 million Muslims of Kashmir, when he removed Article 370? No, absolutely not. The Muslims of Kashmir were very happy being othered, enjoying the rights, enjoying protection over and above what the rest of 1.2 billion Indians were. Our laws were not, most of them were not applicable to their laws. They were enjoying that luxurious ability, which was blatantly wrong. The majority there did not want to have Article 370 removed. Why didn't Modi worry? And there are many instances. So, you have, for example, surgical strike, you have, the Balakot bombing, you had in the wake of 26/11 when our air chief wanted to bomb the Pakistani terror hideouts, the then late Dr. Manmohan Singh said no. He rationalized it. In fact, I'm not saying that like you have rationalized it. He rationalized it, said, I think I did the right thing. You know, it would have provoked and led to a nuclear war. He said it. And that is what I mean. When you are bullied by someone whose only intention is to bully you, and you get bullied, that's the first of a sequence of bullying that you have to withstand. That nuclear doctrine stood, against us for decades. Because Pakistan said, don't touch us in conventional war because we have a nuclear. And Modi said, idhar aao tum pehle. Not once but twice. Where is that nuclear doctrine now? It's in the nearest dustbin. For 60 years, you had the worst treaty ever, the most unjust treaty that a nation willingly signed up to, Indus Water Treaty. It's just, the mind boggles. I mean, let me not go detour to Nehru because uska end hi nahi hai fir. उसके बाद महात्मा गांधी आ जाएंगे तो मैं I beg your pardon, मोहनदास करमचंद गांधी. इतना तो गांधी जी को भी applause नहीं मिली होगी. But in 1960 he signed up to this. 80% of our water preferentially given to them, and for what? All the downstream rivers that China has, China never signed up any treaty. And for 3 wars, this policy of death by 1,000 cuts later, we never ever put that treaty in abeyance. Unbelievable. This is the button that we had. We never used it. Now, Modi used it. And Pakistan was always threatening. An act of abeyance of Indus Water Treaty is an act of war. Modi said, kar lo, aa jao tum. So when you need to stand up, you need to stand up. अब आपने देखो ये बहुत ही cunningly, like a politician अभिजीत जी आपने कर लिया. देखो, he stands up when he wants to. That means when he doesn't stand up, he must have thought about this. अब मैं इसका क्या जवाब दूँ?
No, but
I have no answer to this. I just say, yes, you're looking good in red sari and blue sari as well.
I still maintain that a government which has got the guts to go and destroy Jaish-e-Mohammed headquarters and Lashkar-e-Toiba headquarters deep inside Pakistan, which nobody could ever imagine. The government that has got guts to end the Indus Water Treaty, such big decisions they can take, so definitely they have got courage. So if they are not displaying the same courage in some other cases, I would believe that there must be something which we don't know and he knows, then that's why he's not doing it.
Anand,
Hello.
it's nice. I mean, I would like to underline again that you are a man of black and white, and welcome to the democratic pattern. We need people like you who have these guts.
I would last 24 hours, sir, honestly.
And maybe the Hindu world also accepts people like you. I would like to make a couple of points, my views. Maybe you can comment on that. There are two points. One is perhaps there is a realization that we finally are again a democratic country. What the strength that you are talking about, especially about the government, I am taking only the India after 15th of May 2024 in the test tube and not before. I don't want any comment from you on that because that's gone, you know. So 35% only is the weightage that they have. Balance 65, out of balance 65, 50% people do not have objection to a road called Akbar Road. An university called whatever, Jamia Mia or whatever. So they don't have objection about it. 50% of the population, and we see the people around us and we face them on the social media. This is point number one. So there is a realization, I mean, ending point number one, there is a realization we are a democratic country and we are just maybe 33 or 35%, okay? The second point is the economics, about the economics. I have never seen, especially in the MENA region, I mean, Qatar and Saudi and in all these regions, in 30 years of my business life, there was a reaction against India at any point of time. Two main incidences, 6th of December 1992 and even the abrogation of Article 370. I've never seen reaction in those countries. But there was a huge reaction after Nupur statement. I have personally seen anti-India slogans and in Saudi and Qatar, you know. So the economics behind it, you know, cancelling that 84%, 94% quota of Muslims in that university or whatever, you know, is realized at the center. So I think they are doing, but I completely agree with Mr. Zog that it may take some time. I'm done. Thank you. Your views.
I think we've already discussed that, but I like to say this. Even, you know, when you talk about that there are laws that, you know, follow a particular pattern, that half the people are all right with it, that they continue that. I have come to this situation tired and defeated that even I am all right with it. But my problem is then you apply the law equally. If you am all right with it, if the state is controlling Hindu temples, chalo. But why is the state not controlling mosques and churches? If you have a discriminatory draconian law, ek to pehle wo, that's the first war. The second war is you are applying it only to Hindus. How can that be right? It's like two wrongs. The Hindu candle is burning at both ends. Now, I want the Waqf Act to be removed because nowhere in the world is a property dispute settled not at the courts of a democratic country but at a tribunal which preferentially is dictated to by that community. It's unprecedented, it is draconian, it is unjust, it is illegal. We've been having it for 50, 60 years. Now, okay, you don't have the guts to remove it. You have tried to amend it where a lot of the draconian provisions, the clauses still remain. For example, the state would still have to fund tens of thousands of crores for the Waqf survey to happen. Kyo bhai? This is violating many strictures of our constitution in a so-called secular state, which we are not. But the state is giving money for a religious practice to happen. How is that legal? So that even with the amended Waqf Act continues, but my thing is now, okay, don't remove the Waqf Act, bhaiya thak gaye, haar gaye. But at least make an equivalent Sanatani Act. If the Hindu has to grovel before a tribunal because his land has been suddenly taken by a Muslim or a Muslim body, he can't approach the court, he has to go to the tribunal first. Let the Muslim also grovel before a Hindu Sanatani tribunal. If suddenly one fine day a mosque is claimed by a Sanatani land, of course all mosques are on Sanatani land. 24 घंटे पे लाइन पे आ जाएंगे वो, कहेंगे भैया ऐसा करो वक्फ एक्ट रिमूव कर दो. We much rather go to, why should there be an act? Yes, there could be a board. Yes, there are boards. Why should there be an act dictating that there should be a separate executive, legislator, judiciary? क्या चल रहा है इस देश में? So if people accept it, I mean, it is diabolical for them to accept it, but मैं वो भी थक के मान गया, चलो accept कर लो, लेकिन वो फिर सब जगह apply करो ना, वो नहीं करना आपको. That's all.
We have so far had a wonderful debate, but time doesn't allow any debate. So
Sir,
now we have
1 minute.
time for only 2 questions. Please keep your questions crisp and short, and please ask only 2 questions now.
ओके सर, आई एम राजा तोड़कर. आनंद सर से क्वेश्चन है मेरा. मैं आपकी काफ़ी डिबेट देखता हूँ.
सारे मुझसे पूछ रहे हैं, एक जरा अभिजीत से भी पूछ
नहीं
लीजिए
नहीं
प्लीज.
साहब, अभी कैसा है कि
मेरे कोई डॉग आपकी अदालत हो गया ये.
नहीं, प्रॉब्लम ऐसा है कि जो ज्वलंत प्रश्न है ना, वो सिर्फ आपके पास ही है. बाकी सब तो चलेगा, हो जाएगा, टाइम दे दो. ये तो हम सुनते आ रहे हैं सर, और इसी के कारण हम छोटे हो गए हैं. हमें बोलने की आदत नहीं है, हमें बोलने की आदत ही निकाल दी है गवर्नमेंट ने. हमें बोलना ही नहीं आता है, हम लोग चुपचाप ही बैठे रहते हैं. क्यों, आई डू नॉट नो. आपका डिबेट सुन के, मैं हमेशा आपका डिबेट सुनता हूँ, वहाँ काफ़ी लोग रहते हैं, मुस्लिम स्कॉलर रहते हैं. हाँ, तब उनके वो जो बोलते हैं ना सर, तब मैं मेरे रूम में बैठ के खोलता हूँ. आप कैसे खोलते होंगे मुझे मालूम नहीं है, लेकिन मैं वहाँ मेरे जगह
तो बहुत मजा आता है.
नहीं साहब, आपको मजा आता है.
मैं भी मौलाना हूँ, मैं उनसे कहता हूँ तुमने एक बार कुरान पढ़ी, मैंने 4 बार पढ़ी, आ जाओ.
ये जो आप बोल रहे हैं सर, ये जब हमारे सब कॉमन मैन में आएगा ना देश, तभी इस देश का भला होगा.
Now one more question, last question, please.
Excuse me, sir. Here. Yeah. My name is Ishan Gholap, and I want to ask you a question. That there exists an institution in our country. It is believed to be the epitome of righteousness, whose neutrality is believed to be next to the godliness. But whenever government tries to bring an act or any solution into the favor of the majority, it strikes it. Of course, I'm talking about our judiciary. So according to your previous logic, is our judiciary anti-Hindu, anti-India, or what should a common person do? Because
I won't even allow you to finish the question. My answer is yes.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, just
By the same logic that anyone, any entity that is all right with continuance of anti-Hindu laws is anti-Hindu by my logic. And by your logic as well. And I'm going to remind you every time you say that, look, I am against this thing, but you also stood with me.
Just to rush to the time, I'm not going to ask a question, I'm just trying to help the answers and the questions you are asking. First thing is, 2 nationalists debating amongst each other. I don't think so. We should have discussions so that we debate with the other side. 1. 2, when we speak about patience and cowardice, we need to understand that yes, the midway is not midway, there is only one way. And that's the right way, that is Uttishtam Bhavati Bharata. And top to bottom or bottom up, we all need to understand, and we also are very well aware that there is something in between which is very sticky, which has been appointed about 30 or 40 years ago, which is completing its career. We need to melt this sticky layer and replace it with the chutney that we require. And that's the santri is what we call.
Two nationalist persons have not debated on what needs to be done because we all agree. We were only debating on how it is to be done. So that is number one. I consider myself as a very, very democratic person. I don't impose my views on anybody. But at our home, there is only time when I ask everyone to shut up is when Anand is speaking on the television. So there is no disagreement at all. It's only a question of, we had a lively discussion on how it needs to be done, that's all.
But I'll just add to that, sir, that with profound respect, you couldn't be more wrong, because it is only us and endowment of our Hindu civilization that allows us within the family to agree and disagree.
Thank you, sir.
No other religion, no other civilization, no other philosophy will have people from the same fold agreeing and disagreeing so vehemently. This actually mirrors Darwinian evolution. There is competition, there is spirit of competition, and may the best idea not just win, go forward. That is what Adi Shankaracharya did, and that's the legacy that we are carrying forward. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone, for cooling this session down.
Just one last question. Will I be called again?
I was about to say this, sir. आपने कहा कि लोग आपको एक ही बार बुलाते हैं, बस
And
लेकिन
will I be called again? That's also.
सर आप हमारे ही है. So मैं इसी पॉइंट पर आ रहा था कि आपने कहा एक ही बार बुलाते हैं लोग आपको, लेकिन देखिए गोदावरी संवाद का लोगो भी 5 आंखों का है. 5 eyes are waiting for you for next season as well. क्योंकि जो सत्य पे बात करते हैं उनकी हम हमेशा राह देखते हैं. आप दोनों को बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया अदा करना चाहूँगा. बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद.